Hi everyone, my name is Tiffany. Welcome back, or welcome if you've never been here before. Today, I'm giving you a traveling reading vlog. I'm very excited about this. In a few hours, I will be on my way to Atlanta to visit and support family. My best friend is being celebrated, recognized for making waves in her industry, and I'm not at all surprised. So I need to be there to support that, and I'm really excited to see my parents. In this vlog, I'm gonna be reading 2 new releases and 2 books that I consider to be classics, but I have yet to get to. So I'm so excited for all of the books that I'm going to be reading. I should warn you before we get started, I've recently applied nails, which means I don't know how to act, which also means that you're going to be getting overly expressive hand gestures in this video. I thought I should warn you. Let's go over the books. I want to give you a rundown before I head out for this flight. The first book that I will be reading is Madman by Onley James. I'm salivating for this. She has moved this release date around so much, and I'm so excited that it's dropped right now. Like, it's unexpected, which is why you're getting an intro here and not at my father's house. So we're gonna be between Avi and Felix. We've already gotten a glimpse of them in Damaged, which is a novella. If you don't know, this is a part of her Necessary Evil series, which is about a family of vigilante psychopathic killers that were raised to adjust their urges towards justice. They are everything. They're all romances, and I'm here for it. Avi is one of the twins. Asa's book is Head Case, where we get a little glimpse of what it is like for them to be separated, which they have never been. I was expecting Asa to be a little bit more feral during that, but I think that his romance really soothed him through it. So I'm interested in seeing how Avi handles this. I loved what I got to see between him and Felix in Damaged. Felix is already feigning vitriol, and Avi loves to freaking goad it. Also, Felix will be working for Avi as a part of an internship, and I'm just excited for the tit-for-tat relationship between them. I think this showcases blood play and knife play, so we'll see how Onley James handles that. I'm also going to be reading Juliette Cross, Parks of Provocation. I cannot wait for this. I'm expecting to get comedy and swooning, okay? Oh, I can't wait to read this. It's been a while since I've been in a Juliette Cross. I think the last one was her novella, like Bind Up, for the Stay a Spell series, which I absolutely love, and I highly recommend you listen to and read. The audiobooks are everything. So it's gonna be fun to read her like right in this world. I'm here for it. The next 2 are the classics. So I thought it was finally time that I read Dreaming of You by Lisa Kleypas. I know, I've never read it. I have heard great things. I am gonna meet Derek Craven, and I cannot wait. So that's coming up later on in this vlog. I'm not sure when I'm gonna pick it up, but we're getting to it for sure. And then also, like a little confession, I've read all of the Ravenels. I have not met the Hathaways. And I haven't met the Wallflowers yet. So I'm going to be reading Again the Magic in this vlog. Oh, I can't wait to read about this forbidden, due to class differences, like romance. I'm also still trying to get the sticker off of this book. I don't know why they keep doing this. Like, why not just put it on the back? But, and I really wanted this copy though. Hopefully the sticker will go away, but I'm very excited to get to this as well. It's time. Lion King voice. It is time. So I am excited about all of these books. I will probably see you when I have thoughts. I'm gonna be picking up Madman first. Let's just be real here, because it just dropped and like I'm surprised, gobsmacked, and eager. And I will probably give you an update once I've landed, because since I don't see doing that in the terminal with all the noise in the background being feasible, this is just me saying I will see you when I have thoughts. Bye. I'm here, I made it, and I've been humbled. I knew it was gonna happen. I'm not finished with this book because I did fall asleep on the plane, but I do have thoughts. I'm almost 50% the way through. And first I want to talk about a moment within the prologue that I think really describes the difference between the last book, which features Avi's twin brother Asa, and this one. And I also think it helps at least explain to me why I'm gravitating to Avi more as a hero. Because in each book, you get to see the moment when Thomas found and chose to adopt them. And here we learn that when the twins were very young, they had a nanny, probably the only person to show them kindness. And she had nicknames for them. And it's so freaking fitting. I mean, spoiler alert, I'm gonna read it. I mean, would it be this channel if I didn't pull out a quote? Okay, hold on, I gotta unlock this. I'll be quick. Okay, this is what she called them. She called us Arsu and Azizos. Arsu meant god of the evening star, and Azizos god of the morning star. Morning star, like Lucifer, the light bringer. I just love this because Avi is like as sunshine as a psychopath can get. And I love how he's just like shamelessly enamored by Felix. He is really a cinnamon roll that can handle sharp edges. In fact, he really does find prickly and piercing things to be soothing. And that's perfect for a character like Felix. I do feel like, you know, Avi and Asa are the same coin, but there's definitely two sides. Where Asa wants to hunt down Zane, Avi just really wants Felix to be cuddled up next to him, and I absolutely love it. In this book, Felix is interning for Avi at his fashion design company. I'll call it that, Gemini. And he's like the kind of intern that is all talent, but he's all sass when it comes to the rules. And Avi looks forward to the like daily, you know, verbal sparring, and how Felix sort of acts like he runs the place. And I just like how in this book, it's very similar to Moonstruck in that these are both like heroes that are well versed in vigilante killing. Like, we're going into this book with Felix already knowing who Avi is, and he's not at all jarred by any of it. Felix is the kind of hero that's like a spitfire that can give you a good tongue lashing while standing in stylish clothes. He's good with a knife, and he's very prickly, although pining. And he doesn't believe that Avi could ever return his feelings. In fact, it's almost as if he doesn't want the affection to be reciprocated, because Felix is harboring this belief that anything good in his life will be stripped away. And I love how like Avi is just awestruck by everything that Felix does. Yes, he's attracted to him, but he's also like enamored with his talent. He is very fond of his sharp tongue, and he sees everything that Felix does as like a statement. And I just think it's so perfect for Felix, who is always on high alert and so quick to protect himself and to combat the insecurities that he holds. And it's just like, I think I like Felix so much as a character because he has all of these mental hang-ups that have to do with his flaws, and yet he still suits up and like wears this armor and shows up into the world. That is like such a message for me, because like Felix is fierce, but he is wearing armor. It's almost as if like he doesn't believe that Avi Mulvaney could ever see him as anything. And yet Avi's right there to seduce, spoil, affirm his talent, delight in his quirks. I mean, he's the steady freaking constant, and I'm loving it already. There is a mystery or sort of case in this book, but I'm seeing, at least thus far, that their relationship is the main focus, and I'm not at all mad at the choice. Okay, I am having fun with them. I'm gonna settle in, raid the refrigerator because my dad has like the best snacks, and like get more into this, and I will be back. But I'm freaking loving it. Talking about with this series, I was very interested, okay, to see how Onley James was gonna deal with the knife and the blood play, okay? And like, she took something that, I don't know, could be heavy, gory, shocking, whatever comes to mind when you think of blood and knife play, and she made it like this sensual, sweet, and swoony moment. I mean, I don't know how she takes these like darker themes and makes them heartfelt, but she did it. I feel like I just read developmental steam, because it's like the next level in the relationship, and the aftermath is absolutely hilarious, and it's just like, it's so freaking cute. Like, am I finding knife play like sweet, cute, and endearing? I don't know. Like, I just know I'm loving this. I'm loving it. I'll be back. I loved Madman. Are you kidding me? There were so many things that I got from this book that I wanted in the last, like how the twins were gonna make this work now that they've found partners. It was hinted at in the last book, but we actually got to see how it plays out in this really heartfelt way. I will say that there's one element within it that I absolutely loved. Their dynamic, I mean, because it feels like everybody's needs are getting met. And it was just everything I wanted from that that kind of situation. Also, I like how Felix acquires a sort of confidence about his eye and fashion and talent because of Avi and the space that he creates for him to flourish. And I also like that in the end, his like mental spiraling and anxiety doesn't go away, but he has Avi there to soothe him. I love how Felix is so grounding for Avi, and how his relationship, or in terms of like attachment to his brother, evolves, and he's able to let so much more into his orbit because of it. Like, I want to give this a 5 because of how it made me feel. Like I said, the case in this does wrap up and it does feed into a touchstone for Felix, but that wasn't the shine here for me. Where in the last book, the, mystery element was definitely like the feature that got me. Here it was the romance. And I feel like, I hope she doesn't mind me sharing this, Steph from Novelty Corner, I think she said it so well that this really reads like Onley James was just having freaking fun with her characters. Like, it reads like she's having a ball, and I just loved it. I got what I wanted out of this book. I also am like halfway through Parks of Provocation. I'm sorry, I was out and about last night, and I'm amazed that I was able to put this down. Like, I'm serious. Try to read the first chapter of like second chance comedy and put it down. I doubt that you'll be able to. Lola is reluctantly back in her small town. She's sort of licking her wounds. She's rebuilding after her marketing career has taken a bit of a detour, and we meet her on the day that she locks herself out of the car. And her best friend, out of a almost Cupid-esque jest, sends aid. And that aid is none other than Lola's high school nemesis, Jed. He's like footballer turned firefighter with dimples and like a panty dropping freaking smile. And she is trying desperately not to let him rattle her. And I love the banter in this book. How do I describe it? I love the banter that Lola has within herself, okay? Because she is fighting this every step of the way. It's very comedic with all of these like metaphors that are relatable and grounding. I'll give you an example. I have to. I mean, there's so many. I'll pull one from like the first chapter, so I'm not giving spoilers. But it's just like the kind of writing that just like drafts you in. Okay, I got it. This is when she sees Jed for the first time in years since high school. His hazel eyes punched me with a wave of nostalgia. The kind you get when you hear a song you haven't heard in years, and yet it brings you back to a moment in your life that's imprinted in your brain like it's a link to your DNA. We all know that moment when you are jolted into a reverie yet grounded in place. I just love it. This is chock full of those, and it is absolutely hilarious. I love that her interpretation of events in high school is not at all accurate, and she does follow up on the date that Jed asks her on to, return the favor of him helping her get back into her car. And she has this podcast called Kiss and Tell, where it's dating advice, that she gives to singles. She runs this with her amazing best friend. All of the side characters are so like robust as well. I'm just having a good time with this. So, I mean, of course, he comes onto the podcast and he's killing it, and he garners what no other date has, a second one to improve his score. And I just love how like emotionally mature he is. He's a straight up gentleman and determined to not let this pass. And I love him. I'm loving this. I'm gonna get back into it. I'm about to go eat with the family, and I may or may not have an update before I head out to the airport. This trip has completely gotten away with me. I've actually been resting and celebrating my bestie. I'm sure I'll show you some clips of those. She's a queen at killing the game. So, but we will get to the historicals even if like I make my way back home. We're gonna get through this. I just wanna let you know. We'll see how much I can get to before I head out to the airport. See you when I see you. I just realized that I left Dreaming of You on the freaking plane, and I'm so upset about it. I mean, it's replaceable. This will be like the 4th time that I'm buying the book again because I've like gifted it so many times, but I'm sad. I want my book and I want my tab. I am back and I have thoughts on Parks and Provocation and the beginning of Dreaming of You. Jed is such a swoony Southern hero. I feel like it just felt like he represented like home, that feeling of home for Lola. That's what I loved about this book. Everything about him just throws her off balance because this is not the teenage boy that called her Coca-Cola in high school because of her glasses. Like, he is so family oriented and selflessly takes care of them. There's something that happens in his life as well that causes a detour, and him having to go back home and like fill that role that his family desperately needs isn't a loss at all for him. It's all gain. And throughout this book, he's trying to like show her the glee and the draw of like being there. And oh, he's so freaking swoony. I'll say I really enjoyed reading a heroine because I feel like her position in life is really relatable, except for the romance. Comment section is down below. Anyway, I liked reading about a heroine that had such great plans for where her life was supposed to go, and this like need that she has to get back on track after life smacked her down. And there is so many moments in here, like as he's wooing her by just bringing her into his life, introducing her to his friend group that, you know, she knew way back when, to his family dynamic that he holds together through care, which he's extending to her by like paying attention to the details and just checking in. Oh, it reminds me of what I love from like a road trip romance where like the main characters are just aiming to find something at that destination and failing to see that what they need is right next to them. That has that. And there's a moment in here where she's really led to recognizing it. And he's just a freaking man, you know? Like, he's got a body built by manual labor. He takes care of his own and he's emotionally mature. And Juliette can write some freaking steam, okay? But more than that, I always say, not that I'm calling this a slow burn, but I always say when I am in a slow burn that I need a glance to feel like steam. It better be freaking scalding with attention. I don't like lukewarm stuff. I'll just call it that. I was gonna say something else. Anyway, and the way that Jed, like, the way that she describes his gaze just grazing over her body just did it for me. It is like the perfect example of like what I'm looking for, coupled with a hero that's also making commentary on her character. Oh, I loved this. I loved that he gave her the freedom to just be in the moment, and also that he loved himself enough to not be self-scraping in the end. I'll leave it at that. If you are looking for a small town romance, you need to pick this up. This is a 5-star read for me. I knew I was gonna get like hilarity and I knew I was gonna swoon. It was so good. Oh, I love Jed. And I love what she finds in him. I love what she finds in him, how she relinquishes all that. Anyway, Dreaming of You by Lisa Kleypas. I really avoided picking this book up because it is very hyped, okay? I almost picked it up on Derek Craven Day, dubbed by the Faded Mace podcast, but now, like, my time has come, and so far, I am really enjoying it. If you don't know anything about my reading tastes, I have an affinity for like seedy underbellies depicted in historicals and the characters that like inhabit those spaces. I love a ball and honestly like a house party out in the country. But the fact that this opens with Sarah, who is an author that's in a really, you know, rough part of town because she's there to do research on her next story, like that just drafted me in. And like she's packing heat and saves Derek from being attacked before I could even get like 20 pages in. I just felt like, why haven't I heard anything about Sarah? Oh, it's like, this is a woman that told me, okay, her like capping off like that in the moment, she can handle herself. She's coming into the spaces that she aims to feature correct. And it also shows me and telegraphs that he's not going to be able to scare her off. And like, after she saves him, she realizes or learns that it is the Derek Craven, and it's kind of like kismet in more than one way because she was hoping to kind of like, you know, view his gaming hell for research, and he agrees. And I love how like the staff is smitten by her because she is just so genuine and gracious and kind. And like, one part that I like was just having up like with the frenzy was when she's getting a tour of the space. This is after he like takes back his permission for her to be there because she's already making him feel things. And like, you know, the staff lets her stay anyway. And she's like on this tour and she's moving through this ornate space and she's sort of musing about the man that he is based on the trappings of his life in relation to where he started. And it like has one of my favorite things in a romance, it tickles me so, is when a character can feel their love interest before seeing them. It's like that heightened awareness of their energy within the space. And as she's like on this tour and thinking about the kind of man that he is, she can feel someone watching her and suspects that someone's there. And I just loved that. I'm also enjoying how Lily, his friend, and like just the people who work for him, how they describe him. I wish I had a quote that I could pull out, but we know what happened. Basically, they divulge that he's like a bit of a like tough nut to crack, but he's a good man and he cuts off like all of attachment. It's almost like they're describing abandonment issues. And so like, I like how like Lily cares about him and she's meddling and suggests that he get a companion. Like he needs someone to be with him throughout life. And you know, the unassuming Sarah that he calls Mousy, I don't think that he enjoys her being a reminder of that advice. And I like that she like challenges him. She doesn't want him to see her as mousy and inexperienced. Like, part of the reason why she writes is because she wants to live. And I got to the part where she asks him to kiss her just so that she can know what that feels like, and from a man like him. And when he tells her, again, I'm still salty. I wish I had a direct quote here. But when he tells her something to the effect of like, to kiss her wouldn't be a good idea because it wouldn't end there. I loved that because it sort of like showed me that he has a respect for her, and also kind of shows that he's already like trying to protect her from himself. So I'm seeing like all of that already. I'm at the part where she's planning to crash the masquerade ball that he like forbid her to go to. And I love a ball, okay? At a masquerade ball, you can be anyone you want. So I'm gonna go about my business to get the audiobook and continue, and I will be back probably from my couch real quick. No B-roll, we're gonna get into this. I'll see you soon. A lot has happened and I'm prying myself off, okay? Just so that I can like catch you up to speed. And yeah, so Mousy is not it, honey. Sarah goes to this masquerade, you know, disguised as her own fictional character. I love how like the prostitutes, the working women, and the staff don't at all believe that this character isn't real, and she continues to try to explain it to them. So why not go as your own creation, right? And she is like the sultry toast of this freaking ball. I mean, garnering all of the attention from every man there, including Derek. Things escalate between them, and I love an unmasked and reveal on an identity moment. That is exactly what happens in the heat of the moment, and he's mortified and just trying desperately to collect himself, forbidding her to stay, ordering her to go back home, and like I just was like shrinking inside because I don't want them to be separated, which is also why I just continued to read, because I didn't know how I felt about that. I didn't know how long it was going to persist, and I didn't want like anyone coming at me about their favorite book. So I just wanted to see where this was leading, and like two things happened. One, and this is the second time it's happened in this book, where I have found something that I thoroughly enjoy within romance novels, particularly historicals, yet this precedes those. It's very progressive for something that came out in the 90s. And another thing that like I'm not used to in historicals. So when she goes back home and like she's elated to sort of get things moving with this guy that, you know, promised to marry her, that's been stringing her along for years. Don't waste your time, ladies. Anyway, I love in romance where you've got a hero that's from the wrong side of the tracks, a bad boy or a scoundrel or whatever. And these moments that really showcase what a true gentleman is. Because although it hurts both times, you know, Derek is truly a gentleman to her, not wanting to ruin her, not wanting to sully this woman that he's sort of putting on a pedestal, seeing her spirit and genuine nature. And yes, his attraction for her. He's like able to put that aside and put her first. Very gentlemanly act. And when you place that juxtaposed to her fiance that slut shames her for wanting to feel desired and to experiment with him, I was like too damn through. Doesn't defend her honor. Derek was ready to fire his whole staff if they didn't find where she went after the ball. That's another thing, but we're not gonna do everything tit for tat. But like, come on here. I just loved the juxtaposition. And when one of the working ladies from his gambling hell comes up, you know, to share with her what's been going on down there, I was a little gobsmacked, because this doesn't usually happen where we have our hero, I don't know if it was sexual, but he did, you know, he pays one of the women that looks a lot like Sarah, and during their time together, he is imagining that it's her, and he is whispering sweet nothings and like holding, you know, this working gal, and she relays this information to Sarah, you know, which, you know, we all would be up in here tripping. They're so far away anyway. I was like a little like taken aback, but it really didn't bother me, because I knew that that was gonna be a thread that was gonna put them back together. So I'm like, he is missing you, boo, and trying to do the right thing here. And she gets an invitation to Lily's party, and he's there, and the freaking angst, like he's angry. He thinks that she planned this with Lily. He thinks that she's setting him up to be cornered by his freaking feelings that are wrapping around him like a vice, and he's pushing her away, and she just wants him to come in and take her. Oh, I'm loving it. I'm freaking loving this. Like, I can't. And you know, we need to give it up for Sarah. She is not at all judgmental about the working women in his gambling hell. In fact, she really like featured the character that she created to showcase the plight of these women and doesn't judge them for their lifestyle. Here for it. She's over here talking about, take me, okay? I want you. And I don't think she's gonna let him push her away. And with Lily's meddling, we gotta get this thing down pat. We also have one of the women that Derek used to have dalliances with at the ball. So I'm sure she's gonna dredge up freaking trouble, and like, I'm gonna get back to it. But again, I am just like liking how he's fighting this and how there are these reveals on his very harrowing background, and like the sort of stain that he believes to be on him. There are these allusions to how like he's slowly given up the best parts of himself in order to be the man that he is today, and therefore that's why he feels like he is not good enough for her, or possibly that he doesn't have anything good left to give her. Oh, it's a lot. I will be back. I will be back. This lives up to the hype. This lives up to the hype, okay? Like, so many things. I didn't know that this was a marriage of convenience and one that we get to actually spend time with them. I love how she doesn't let him push her away. I don't want an honorable man. I just want you. Oh, how she doesn't let him use the tactic to blame himself for Lady Ashbury's freaking deplorable behavior during the ball and even later. How she says no to the list of suitors that he has for her instead of him. And these moments while they're married where he's like second guessing himself and wondering if he's doing this whole husband thing right. How he's just completely unraveled. He's gone. He is in happiness, yet he doesn't know how to recognize that. And he states that in this. And one aspect that I thoroughly enjoyed is getting to know more about his backstory in terms of how he built his empire. How he too was once a working man of the night, if you will, cashing in favors and banking on blackmail and bribery. And I love that sort of messaging that one could have a past of sex work and that doesn't solely what they have in their partnership, how their moments together in terms of steam could still be beautiful. And that is a good message. For me, at least, I really enjoyed that, as well as like this just beautiful imagery of everything that he has built being in shambles. Okay, it's almost like it had to come down in order for it to click for him, and she's standing in the rubble of his empire. She feels him once again, and it is in that moment that it's only her and he can admit that he loves her. And this whole time I was like, he's fighting it. It's that he's in fear because it's the last thing that he has to give. And like, when it's all coming down, he's not trying to save it. He's trying to save her. Oh, it's just so freaking good. It's just so freaking good. The epilogue, what a beautiful, like, mature, oh, it was just so sexy. It was so freaking good. This lives up to the hype. I absolutely loved this. I feel like this is an entire vlog of 5-star reads. You could probably tell by the timestamp that I'm not going to be reading again The Magic. I just want to go through that book and really capture like my, not beat by beat, but just my first reaction to it. And I do not want this to be an hour-long vlog. My trip really got away with me. But I'm happy. Like, I got to see my best friend. I read amazing books. The only thing that I regret is not seeing Tori from Novel Life while I was out there because of my flights. That was upsetting, but oh, I'm just gonna stop here because I'm just gonna keep musing and I don't want to like have you sit here while I'm sighing. This was absolutely fabulous. It is a 5-star read. I can see why it is beloved. I'm not sure if he's my favorite Lisa Kleypas hero, but I'm still contemplating here, you know. I'm still like, I'm fresh off the freaking book. So, but I want to thank you for joining me. Please consider subscribing and sticking around. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.